Hey everybody, and welcome back to Culture Cached. Well, it has finally happened. The end of a generation. Something that defined my childhood and teens, something that brought me and millions of others so much happiness is no more. As of December 31st, 2025, MTV has finally stopped playing music in the UK and Ireland. The M is gone. It's just TV now. It's been a long time coming. The rot started slowly in the early 2000s with shows like The Osbournes and Newlyweds, but at least those were somewhat related to music. But they paved the way for the real slop, the likes of 16 and Pregnant and Jersey Shore, and the endless loops of ridiculousness. But let us not dwell on the brain fart of modern day MTV just yet. Let us begin at a happier time. Let us start at the beginning. MTV launched in the USA on August 1st, 1981. The first video was the aptly titled Video Killed a Radio Star by the Buggles. It turned music from a purely audio experience into a visual one. Its impact on pop media cannot be overstated. I don't think Gen Z or even younger millennials can truly grasp how revolutionary it was. Back then, US radio was heavily segregated, with stations playing specific genres to specific audiences, often divided along racial lines. MTV helped break down those walls. A pivotal moment came in 1983 when they aired Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. While not the first black artist on a channel, MJ was, however, a turning point. After that, the floodgates opened for black artists across all genres. MTV became a melting pot. It had everything from Headbangers Ball for the rockers to Yo MTV Raps for the hip hoppers. It felt like it was for everyone, or at least everyone young. MTV Europe arrived in 1987, but I don't remember it reaching us in Ireland, or at least me, until around 1993. When it did, my life changed forever. At the time, we actually had more European channels than we do now, things like Eurosport or the German-based version of NBC, which for some reason just seemed to play divorce court all day long. I remember a friend's older sister being incredibly excited about getting MTV. I didn't get the hype at first. I'm not even sure I'd seen a proper music video yet. I had no idea it was about to become the soundtrack of my life, my obsession. Despite being European, the channel did focus, or at least it's how I remember it, on mainly US and UK acts. Artists from those two countries still dominate in Europe, although that is beginning to change. Other continental music was mostly Eurodance, which I listened to a lot of in my tween years, with Two Unlimited being my favourite. However, there was also shows like European Top 20, which aired a more diverse mix. This was also the time, or at least the aftermath, of the end of the Cold War and the collapse of the Berlin Wall, and it all felt very positive. In 1994, we got our own award show, MTV European Music Awards, and all seemed great with the world. Then came 1997. MTV Europe was localized to regional networks, and we got MTV UK and Ireland, perhaps with a small I. This was when I really fell down the rabbit hole. I began to follow music more, take an interest in who and what was coming out, started following the charts, watching Top of the Pops, buying music magazines, as well as more CDs. Basically, I was a teenager and became obsessed with pop music. I'd watch MTV constantly, whether at my own house or a mate's. It didn't even matter if we liked the specific song that was playing, we just watched. If we didn't like the tune, we'd stay for the eye candy. Ireland back then was also becoming cool and fashionable. We had the Corrs, Boyzone, Father Ted, and Bally's Angel, and this was reflected on screen. Shows like MTV The Lick, which was a more chilled out, relaxed version of Your MTV Raps, held club nights in Dublin, and in 1999, the European Music Awards came to town. Music was my drug. I had stacks of VHS tapes filled with recorded videos. And once I remember going to the countryside with my mum back in 2001 to a house with no TV and feeling genuine withdrawal symptoms. There was a dopamine addiction long before smartphones existed. Then things began to change. It seemed slow at first. MTV started experimenting early with reality TV, with the real world all the way back in 1992. But at the time, people didn't think much. It wasn't popular among my friends, but it signaled the beginning of the end, a long, slow death of music television. What was more popular among my peers were shows like Beavis and Butthead and Daria. I hated both. I didn't like the toilet humor of Beavis, and well, Daria, I just didn't get it. It wasn't for me. These shows just interrupted my music. Then came the lifestyle era, Pimp My Ride and My Super Sweet 16. And by 2004, the game was up. Music videos were becoming a rarity. But this wasn't the end of music television. What is often left out about this topic, about the demise of MTV, is that MTV did create separate channels that did have music on them. The likes of MTV2, which catered to rock and indie, and MTV Hits for pop. And other companies and channels separate to MTV started airing, the likes of The Box. But to me, growing up with basic cable and no access to these channels, it was over. It wasn't just MTV, of course. It all seemed to end at once. Top of the Pops ended in 2006, Saturday morning music shows ended, and the magazines I bought folded. It was a wilderness, the dark ages, and I wandered blindly. At this time, the whole industry was changing. The digital revolution was on. In those early days, I didn't have the internet at home, so instead went to internet cafes and tried to get my fix that way. Anyone remember or know what a site called Yahoo Video was? Basically, it was a crude video portal that contained low-quality videos, including music videos. This gave me something, but it was, of course, the launch of one particular site, this site, that changed everything. I first found YouTube in 2006, but had zero interest in Panda sneezing or whose finger Charlie was biting. Instead, I went straight to the music. I believe the first video I ever saw here was Kanye West's Gold Digger. But shortly afterwards, I was watching music videos here every day, both old and new. In 2015, I finally got digital TV and discovered a new crop of music channels, the likes of 4Music, Magic, and Kiss. I was older now, but I regressed so fast you have no idea. Some may say I never actually grew up in the first place. My default position went back to watching music videos, and I was happy. But as we all know, this too will come to an end. In 2024, Channel 4 closed all its music channels, citing costs. This, in essence, only left me with one music channel, the aptly named MTV Music. But as of the 31st of the 12th, 2025, that too is gone, as are all the other channels. Music television is officially over. But hey, Catfish is still on. The world has changed. Music sales crashed, and concert tickets now cost €170. I like to think, moved with the times. I get my fix on YouTube now, but something is missing. My YouTube homepage is an echo chamber. It recommends the same 5 and 6 bands over and over again. I'm not discovering anything new, the way I did when a random VJ would introduce a new track. MTV defined a generation in a way that modern TV simply doesn't or can't. Or at least that's how I feel about it. But maybe I'm just a boomer or a very tired millennial reminiscing about my youth. But sitting here today, staring at a blank screen where music used to be, I can't help but feel it really was better back then. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you give it a like or subscribe, and I will see you next time.